So do miracles still happen? You know, this is gonna be harsh and this is gonna be blunt, but let's just be honest. Christianity, it just kind of sucks in terms of what it has become. Now, I've only been a Christian for about 3.5 years, but in high school, so we're talking the 90s, okay? So in high school, I hated Christians. But at least Christians were Christians. Like, I hated them because I knew what they believed and I completely disagreed with it. They love Jesus. Jesus is the only way. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. All the other religions are false. The earth is young. Genesis is true. God made everything quick. 6 days. Adam and Eve is true. The miracles in the New Testament are true. God did part the Red Sea. I mean, Christians were Christians, and this is not that long ago. Like I said, we're just talking about 20 years ago. But you fast forward, and man, so much has happened in the last 20 years. I mean, it is hard to find. I mean, even Christians will mock a fundamentalist Christian. A fundamentalist just means you're a Christian. Like anything you do, you should adhere to the fundamentals. If you play basketball, well, all right, you should pull down rebounds and you should play defense and you should make layups and you should do the fundamentals. If you're a house builder, you should lay down a foundation properly and use high quality wood for the construction, and you should adhere to the fundamentals. Anything you do, you should be a fundamentalist. But like I said, I mean, we see obviously the world hates fundamentalists, but even Christians don't like fundamentalists. So I bring all that up to say, of the many things that have been denounced, young earth and Jesus is the only way, homosexuality is a sin, all that different stuff. A lot of Christians don't even believe in miracles, and they think that stuff did happen, but it doesn't happen anymore, or it never happened, it was just an allegory, or whatever. Well, I'm telling you that miracles still happen, okay? I have experienced my own psychological and spiritual miracles since I've accepted Jesus as my Savior. I've heard testimonies of people who have been healed of physical ailments, people who have been healed of schizophrenia. I'm going to leave a link, in the description to this girl, Purvi. I think it's Purvi. I can't remember how you spell her name, but she had a great testimony from a few years ago. She was into Hinduism, and she was into yoga. I think she even moved to India, if I remember right, and had a guru and all this different stuff. And she had all kinds of problems. She had health problems. She had weird problems. She'd wake up and bugs were walking across her stomach and all kinds of weird stuff. She accepted Jesus as her Savior, and all that stuff got healed. So miracles do still happen. I'm not saying that you're always going to get a miracle or that the only answer to any problem is a miracle, but don't write miracles off, okay? Miracles still happen, and there's still something that you should believe in and something you should look for. Now, just as kind of a side note, sometimes I see Christians almost have the opposite problem. They're completely reliant on miracles. Like, it's almost like they have scurvy, and then somebody says, here, eat this orange. And they're like, oh, no, I'm waiting for God to cure it. Like, no, all you need to do is eat an orange. So, sometimes Christians have that opposite problem where they don't want to do anything to try and, benefit their health or whatever. And they're just sitting around waiting for this unambiguous miracle. But like I said, that's kind of just a tangent. The main point of this video is if you're somebody who has been told miracles don't happen, or that's all that happened in Acts, that stuff doesn't happen anymore, those people are wrong. Miracles still happen. Now, I want to tell you too, I may make this into a separate video, I'm not sure, but I think that we are returning to kind of an Acts type of Christianity. Now, when I say Acts, what I mean is the stuff that's going on in the book of Acts, where you didn't have all these churches and you had a lot more of the Spirit doing work. You had, people were being healed or saved in mass groups, and you had people being healed and laying hands on people and casting out demons, and that stuff still goes on. But not to a very big degree. A lot of churches are just actually afraid of that stuff. They don't want anything to do with it. But I think that's what we're turning back into, because from what I see, I mean, the church is on its way out. I think we're going to be heading back to a more spiritual, a more personal, a more private, a more underground, type of Christianity. Obviously, persecution is on the rise. Everyone, is embracing the LGBT movement. You see, certain countries like Canada, I don't think you can even speak out against transgender. I think a church would be fined or shut down if they had any kind of negative thing to say about homosexuality or transgender or any of that sort of stuff. It's probably just a matter of time before that stuff trickles down here. So, there's going to come this point where, you're not even going to be allowed to be a Christian, or you're not even going to be allowed to be an open Christian. You won't be allowed to be openly Christian without facing jail time and things of that sort. So when I look at how watered down everything is, when I look at how just wimpy the church is overall, I see that we're going to be ushering in a new type of Christianity, which is to say that we're going to be ushering in a very old type of Christianity, which, if that happens, to me, that may be the best thing that happens, because we have gotten so far away, for the most part, from what biblical Christianity is, that, it's time for something major to happen. I want to say, too, just something, in terms of my own experience. I have been to a bunch of different churches, and I have seen so many problems at so many different churches, and so much wrong with what they teach, and so much that is non-biblical or even anti-biblical or whatever. And it took me, the church that I finally wound up at, okay, is a landmark Baptist church. It's called Grace Missionary Baptist. And it used to be a thriving church. It used to have like 60, 70 members. Well, now it has like 10. And it's basically me. I'm 36. The pastor's son, he's in his probably 50s. And everybody else in there is in their 80s or their 90s. Okay. So, me finding this church, this is basically a fluke church. Like, there are probably not too many churches like this, anywhere in the country, as far as churches that preach the gospel, preach the Bible, preach grace through faith, preach hell, preach heaven, preach Satan, preach, young earth, preach all the fundamentalist, quintessential Christian stuff. This is really the only church I could find that had the courage to do it. And now it's down to like 10 members. And they're trying to find a new location. They sold the church. They're moving up to a different area. Now we're just meeting at one of the members' houses. So, like I said, from everything that I see, it seems to me that we're transitioning out of church and into small, private, meaningful, enriching Christian groups. So I know that was completely off topic. Like I said, I may make a separate video, but the main point of the video is that, miracles do still happen. Have faith in miracles. And not only do miracles still happen, but I think we are moving back to a more miraculous type of Christianity. So that's it. Subscribe or leave comments or ask questions or whatever. And thanks for listening. God bless.